Krystal had told me her experiences with Iris, the things she saw in her dream. I started getting upset again, realizing even more that I created not a solution, but a disaster for many people. As she told me the terrible outcome, now I knew more of what was going on. Is this the hell I put people through? I understand. I get it now. It drives people mad because they lose their minds once they're sleeping long enough. They lose the will to control themselves without realizing it. And as they face their nightmares, their fears, they give in to the insanity. Whatever you do, never take it again. Please, don't.
I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but you talk like you were responsible for something. Is Iris somehow related to the outbreak? If that's what you can call all of this.
Yes. Unfortunately, I was one of the many scientists taking part in the operation inside Root Research Labs. The main site is in Chicago, not far from here. I monitored the testing process and recorded the results, any data that would help us improve the formula. I thought what we were doing was building peace, but as it appears, I guess we were only destroying it. I can't help but feel so responsible for this mistake. Thousands of lives are involved. Thousands of lives lost.
You didn't know. It's okay. I'm sorry things happened like they have. The important thing right now is that we stay together and figure out how to survive through all this.
Yeah, perhaps you're right. Sometimes it's just hard to live with the facts. Well, no use in moping about it anymore, I guess. We all have to move on sometime, right? Thank you. She suddenly hugged me as tears filled my eyes as I was in her arms, hugging her back. Not gonna lie, the fact I was hugging this beautiful, sweet girl just... Oh, sorry. I still felt horrible for what I was involved in, what I was responsible for. How could anything I do beyond that point make up for it? The night went on, and I slept on the couch. I let Krystal sleep in the bed with Rose. The next morning, I turned on the TV and noticed the evacuation instructions were still going on. I guess that meant the news team was already dead, or couldn't regroup. Still, just in case anything had changed, I left the TV on. I didn't know what else there was to eat, so I decided it was time to move onward. When Krystal woke up, we talked about our next move and decided to go to a grocery store. She took her car and I took mine. Rose rode with me. When we arrived at the store, all was quiet and foggy. All of the lights were still on. We decided to walk in and grab whatever we could. I kept my gun handy just in case any strangers were lurking about. The strangest thing was, we didn't see anyone in there, which was a relief. This store was a safe house for supplies until the power was cut off. There was still plenty of food left. We grabbed some meat, potatoes, fruit, granola bars, vegetables, bottled water, a cooler with ice, some pre-made lasagna, TV dinners, and anything else we liked. Not too far out from the store was a farmhouse on the countryside. We decided to go up there and knock on the door to see if anyone was home. No one answered, so we entered the house. We walked into the kitchen, where we saw the shocking sight of a dead man who shot himself. I covered Rose's eyes and held her close.
I'll go get a mop and get it out of here.
Krystal dragged the body out of the room. The TV was on. He must have lost the will to survive. I guess he knew that he was too weak to run from them, so he killed himself before they could get to him first. The poor man. For now, this was a place we could call home. We unloaded the food into the refrigerator and settled down in the kitchen. Around 30 minutes later, the evacuation signal broke for a short moment and switched over to the news.
Hello, and good morning, America. I'm Harvey Walt, and this is Channel 8 with the 10 a.m. news. We apologize for having technical difficulties. We had to relocate to another studio due to the catastrophic outbreak. Some of our team members were killed in the process, and may their souls rest in peace. Our condolences go out to their families. I hope you are far away from Chicago, because I certainly am. Right now, officials are setting up a safe house for citizens to stay for a temporary time being. They are currently moving food to the Good Shepherd's homeless shelter in Joliet, Illinois. They are also advising people not to break into any homes. A lot of looting has been taking place in several different areas according to various reports. As long as you follow our instructions, you will be safe. If you have enough gas and supplies, head to Joliet for further instructions. It is currently under military protection, so you will need your ID for clearance. There isn't much other news going on right now, surprisingly, as this catastrophic series of events is tearing the nation apart. It started in Chicago, and now there has been a rising amount of reported outbreaks in Charleston, South Carolina, Frankfort, Kentucky, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and at least 30 other cities. This is sweeping across America, but the military says they can contain it. I'm not going to lie. I'm scared to even sit here today at this desk. There's people at home that I care about, that I'm worried about. I hope that you all can find safety. Remember, stay close to your loved ones, and to the strangers around you, stick together. It has not been said how long this will last, but hopefully not too long. In the meantime, hang in there, everyone.
Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, that I couldn't hate myself anymore, as stressed out and overwhelmed as I was, I buried my face into the table with my arms wrapped around my head. I felt even more guilty. I started to feel the urge to shoot myself again. I never hated myself so much. But then I realized if I shot myself, I would kill one of humanity's last hopes, and Rose would have no one left. If I made it, I could find a way to destroy it as well. I needed to make up for my wrongs. I told Krystal and Rose to stay at the house while I traveled to various places to get the supplies I needed to make a potential cure. Even though I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to do that, I had to do some research. It took hours, but I managed to find the right tools and chemicals. I knew going back to the lab was pointless, as everything was probably destroyed, and I didn't want to risk my life, in case you know who was still around there. I came back to the house and set up my tools in the barn. For hours I drew diagrams and burned chemicals in beakers over Bunsen burners. I was doing it the old-fashioned way. I didn't sleep until I came to a theory. I couldn't believe it was so simple, but a combination of antivenom and eye drops used to calm irritated eyes was the simple cure. So I thought. I added some other things in there, but that is classified. I wouldn't want anyone just finding out how to make the cure. I brought Rose into the barn to test the cure. I injected her with the fluid in the device, and suddenly she started crying. Does it hurt?
No. I don't know why I'm crying.
It was probably her body's way of purging the drug in response to the introduction of the fluid.
My chest feels tight.
Her body started shaking and she fell to her knees. I was worried. A minute had passed. Rose, what's wrong? How do you feel, Rose?
I feel normal. I feel better now.
Oh, thank goodness. She smiled. I was happy to know that hours of my research hadn't failed me. I gave her a big hug and smiled. I was so happy. I was glad she was okay, and I knew this meant I could help everyone else. Let's go cure everyone. We packed our food and climbed in our car and headed towards Joliet.
Let me in! Let me in!
Make yourself at home.
Thanks. Do you know what's going on out there?
Yeah, I saw it coming 2 days ago, so I started packing early and made this place my home. There's food under the seats if you want anything. I promise it's not gonna make you blow chunks everywhere, so you don't gotta worry about that.
Wait, what do you mean you saw it coming? Are you like psychic or something?
Something like that.